and welcome to the True North Show. I am your today snuffly host, Megan North, and I'd like to thank our sponsors of the show, Quantum Awakening, Beth Lewis, Anne C. Clark, and my lovely guest who paid to be featured on this episode. Today, I am joined by a wonderfully strong and caring woman who I've known for quite a few years now through my theta healing community. Donna Sullivan is an Australian holistic intuitive healer and personal and spiritual development coach who believes transformation is always possible when we reconnect with our inner wisdom. Donna's work helps people move from fear, anxiety, and emotional pain into clarity, peace, and genuine self-worth by reconnecting them with their inner truth. Her journey began in her early 30s while thriving in a corporate role in Sydney, Australia, when sudden, debilitating anxiety and panic attacks brought her life to a halt. Instead of accepting long-term medication as her only option, she followed a strong inner knowing that another way was possible and committed to understanding her anxiety rather than hiding from it. Repeating the affirmation, "My name is Donna Sullivan and I am triumphant," she began exploring holistic healing, including kinesiology, body talk, theta healing, energy work, and past life exploration, gradually reclaiming her life and rediscovering her purpose. Today, Donna is known for her grounded, compassionate approach that combines intuition with practical emotional tools. She creates safe, supportive spaces for clients to release old stories, heal emotional patterns, and reconnect with their authentic power through one-on-one sessions, coaching, workshops, and courses. Her mission is to raise consciousness and teach forgiveness as a powerful pathway to freedom, guiding people to transform from the inside out, and step into a life of clarity, self-love, and joy. Donna, welcome to the show. I am so thrilled that you're joining me today.
Me too. Thank you very much for having me. I'm really grateful to be here. And Merry Christmas. It's only a couple of days now. So, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. And I hope that somebody out there is going to benefit from something I'm going to say today. That would be my purpose of this, is that there's somebody out there that is listening that would like to hear something that we've got to say and that can make a difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we've got so much to explore, so let's dive in.
Okay, sounds good.
So in your early 30s, anxiety and panic attacks brought your life to a halt. So what was happening for you at this time? And was this the defining moment that led you to pursue your passion and purpose?
It sort of was. So what happened is it was like Christmas. It was like Christmas of my 35th year. And a couple of weeks before Christmas, I was feeling anxiety. I didn't really know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went away, spent some time away, had a pretty difficult time driving and participating in the festivities. But then I got home. It was the first day back to work. And I woke up in the morning. It was, time to get up to go to work, back to work. And my pillow was just absolutely full of tears. And so I really just couldn't function. I was in a pretty bad way. So you know what you do, you call your dad, because there's definitely no way that I was going to be driving that day. But anyway, we sat in a doctor's surgery for a couple of hours, and because I was determined that I didn't want to take medication, but because what he'd said to me is he was suggesting that I take Valium, and if I didn't figure it out, I'd be on Valium for the rest of my life. And that was the thing. It wasn't the taking the Western medicine that stopped me. It was the fact that I had to now cover this up for the rest of my life and potentially not really be who I am authentically. And that was a major trigger for me.
Mm.
So what I did is I did take the Valium for 7 days. I carried it in my purse for about the next 7 years. But I said to the doctor, I will take 7 days worth because I needed to come down from where I was.
Mm-hmm.
So by doing that, I sort of stabilised myself, not a lot, but I did cope a little bit better. and then I just toughed it out. And I'm not suggesting anybody do that. It wasn't an easy journey, but it was about maybe within a year. I was out with the girls and I was feeling pretty awful one night. And I remember saying to my girlfriend, "Do I look okay?" Like, because I was just feeling quite anxious and everything. And she's going, "Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, you're good. It's all good." And okay, and we started talking about psychics and clairvoyance and everything. And then I had this recollection. I'd been to a psychic about 8 years earlier. A friend of mine was unfortunately dying of breast cancer, and she wanted to know how her only son was going to fare. So she actually asked me to go along just to support her. She didn't quite say it like that, of course, but she wanted some support. And I went, "Yeah, of course, I'll come with you." But little did I know, her taking me there was actually really, really significant
Mm.
because, amongst other things that have come true, this psychic in Paddington told me that I'd get sick in my 35th year and it wasn't life threatening. But if I didn't deal with it, I'd have it for the rest of my life. So that was like 10 minutes later. So basically, it was part of my divine plan. I'd come in with this. I'd come in to do this. And the reason I come in to do it was because I then needed to look back in my past and I needed to pull on all the information because I've been a healer many times before. And I needed to pull all that information back and I needed to get back to being who I was authentically, who I
Yeah.
am. So that was when my journey began. And so I knew I was really quite psychic, but I didn't know back then that I was claircognient. So by being claircognient, it's just like a sense of knowing something. I knew stuff, but I didn't know why. So I sort of knew on some level that I need to do some energy healing and look into different things like that. Yeah, so what happened when along the way is that I just became an avid reader of spiritual books and help books and where can I find any information that's going to support me on my journey? And one of the books that I read really, really early in the piece was the Denise Lynn one. And she actually taught you in the book how to tap into an emotion, a part of your body where you are holding on to something. So I was sitting on the beach one day and I thought, okay, I've had this incredible fear of dentists. I never had a bad experience, but even as like a 5-year-old, when my mum took me to the dentist for the dentist just to open my mouth and check my teeth, this really, really good girl went on like a crazy girl.
Oh, so
So
like
I
from
thought, where's
here,
that fear come from?
here,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
So I went in, I found out where in my body it was, and just to make sure I was tuning into it, she suggested to give it a color and a size. And so I just started feeling into it. And then I just got this vivid flash of this past life. And what I got is I'd been shot in the mouth, but with a gun. And that's actually where I was missing a tooth now. So I'd actually brought it in. So then I just knew then, like, then I knew I was like quite psychic and stuff. And I knew she was actually guiding me through this process. But I actually started waking up more. So even though I was still unwell and I was still going through kinesiologists and being supported there, and always leaving feeling better and knowing that I'd taken a step forward, even though there were occasions where I'd take a step back. But so I joined a spiritual class here on the coast, and I was Raylene Cable. She was at the time she was one of Australia's leading psychics, and she used to always say to me, "Donna, the spirit's telling me you're as psychic as me." And I go, "Yeah, whatever." No, 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 no. But yeah, I knew I got a lot of stuff right, so that was quite funny. And then she set me up one day. We did this class, and just like you do with the typical, past the present, with all the chairs back to back with the kids and running around, right? So we had, I don't know, 6 of us on this side, 6 on that side. And there was a new girl starting tonight. And so she had her sit right down the other end, and I was sitting up this end. Anybody on this side, didn't see anybody walk in, so I had no idea who'd even turned up. And she said, "Donna, or everybody, I'm just going to introduce you to our new classmate." And Donna, I want you to tell me something about her. And I went, what? Okay, I said, all right, let's do it. Let's do it. So I tuned in, and I'm a pretty girly girl, and this lady had on a tracksuit. So that would not be something that my consciousness would go to with a lady like so. And I knew it was grey, and I knew it was a grey tracksuit top. But the thing that was interesting, and I said, I think she's got a bracelet on, but it's like timber baubles, and they're all like in a wrist bracelet. And after that, Rallyn said, Donna, turn around and have a look. And she goes like this, and I went, oh my gosh. So being claircognizant as I am, I just get a sense of knowing. So it's really, really hard to trust. So I say to anybody out there, if you know that you know things, but you don't know why, it's okay. Just start to trust it and play games with it. If some of the phone rings, try and think who might be ringing and just start to use it, because once you start to be familiarize it, like I see things too, and I hear things very, very seldom, but 99% for me is just a download of information which I've got to make sense of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. And I'll just share, I think this is cute too. So two people in my family, and they were both under 5 when this happened. Like one was like 25 years ago. My nephew ran up the stairs when we were out for Mother's Day, and he said, Auntie D, can I have a Mentos? I said, how do you know I've got a Mentos in my bag? He said, I don't know, I just know. And what had happened, my girlfriend had been out the night before and put fuel in her car, and it was a 2-for-1 deal. And she said, here, Donna, have a packet of Mentos. It wasn't something that I would buy. So he just went straight up the stairs at this restaurant and said that. And then the other one is also my great nephew, but he was in his mum's belly when my father passed. Yet when, I don't know, he was 3, 4, or 5, and he said, oh, Mum, I just had a visit from Pop. And she said, because he only knows what he looks like by pictures. And she said, oh, what did Pop say? Pop said, the sun's out and we're going to have a nice day, which is the sort of thing a grandfather would say from the other side to a 3 or 4-year-old.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we've all got the intuition, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
We just need to trust it and have a lot of fun with it, because it's part of you. It's the innate part of you, and it's lots of fun.
And I love that you give that suggestion of having fun with it, because I think that that's where you start to test with it and play with it, because then it doesn't feel serious either. It's not like you're saying you're going to predict someone's future or something. It's just have some fun and
just play with it.
Yeah, just play with it. Yeah.
And I know I'm fairly accurate. Like I'm very accurate when I'm tapping in with the healing. But personally, I don't like to do predictive. Yeah. That's just not me, because that's the energy of today. That's not necessary. I'm not saying it's not going to happen next month, because it might be part of your divine planning. You might stay in that energy. But if you don't stay in that energy, tomorrow can always be different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And so what was the book that you read that
Past lives, present dreams, but it's Denise Lynn, so it's Denise Lynn.
Okay.
But yeah, present dreams, present life.
Okay.
Present dreams, past life. That's very.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, and it's a really good book, because it actually just gives you like step by step just to practice. And I think it's from like the 1970s, 1980s.
Wow.
But it's a really good book for you to learn how to trust. And like I say, you can just play with it.
Yeah.
And just start to trust yourself is basically what that book supported.
Yeah, love that. And so so when all of this anxiety came to a head for you, you're working in a corporate role in Sydney, Australia. And so now you're not working in corporate and you're working with clients and you're working in different modalities. So do you think, so once you started to get a handle on the anxiety, did you then continue in your corporate role, or did you step out? Like when did you step out and start to then pursue this other avenue of woo?
Yeah, look, I actually stayed in the corporate for, well, for a long, long time. I always knew it was something I was going to do when I was older
Yeah.
or retired or something, and I just knew that I'd know when the perfect time. And I have to say, COVID was the perfect time
Ah, okay.
because I always felt like, so I was always doing it. I was always doing healings, and I guess on some level, I'd always been a bit of a personal development coach sort of personality. So I'd probably always been quite supportive of people, but I just knew when the right time would be.
Yeah.
And there's been so many people that have been set back, whether it's emotionally, physically, or spiritually, from that period of time. So that to me was the perfect thing. And I love doing courses because I would like people to actually learn how not to get unwell, whether it's emotionally, physically, or spiritually, instead of waiting
Yeah.
to get unwell and then let's fix it. Not that there's a problem with that.
Yeah.
And I guess the thing that I would say now for anybody who's having anxiety out there or some sort of condition that they're really struggling with, there will be everything's healable. I'll say that first. That's my belief, and hopefully others can choose to believe that. But when you realize why you got what you did, attracted what you did, whatever your belief pattern might say, I am now so incredibly grateful for panic attacks.
Yeah.
And it was difficult. I wouldn't put it on anybody, but I learned so much. And this was something that would come up in Raylene's class. Like I'd ask Raylene something and she'd go, Spirit's telling me I can't tell you.
Uh,
But you tell everybody else in class everything they want to know. And she said, they're telling me you have to find it out for yourself.
yourself.
And the reason being is that I was writing a book and I'd been logging everything that had happened. So I needed for it to become authentic from me and from my experiences, not because somebody told me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
once I got that, I was going to sort of bring it on because I wanted to learn more.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
wasn't that I wanted to get out of it the easy way. I just wanted to have clarity and understanding.
Yeah. And I also feel like, too, is that when we've been through things, particularly as a healer, there's a certain level then of relatability that we can relate to our clients because we not completely understand what they're going through, but we can relate to what they're going through. And I find that that then helps us to be better healers.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that I notice is quite often when I'm doing a healing, I see the person's face change. So I'll actually know that it's come from like a belief around 5 years old or maybe a teenager. Like it's just this really, really quick moment where I see them go back to when they created that belief that's holding them back. And
Yeah.
I just love that because I go, oh yes, there it is. Like I
Yeah.
know what to work with, what to work around.
Yeah.
And
Amazing. I love
that's
that.
really, I love that.
Yeah, beautiful. And so, on your journey, you made an interesting discovery about what anxiety and fear represents. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, so anxiety is about fear of the future, and depression is unresolved trauma or whatever it might be. It doesn't necessarily have to be trauma, but it's something that's unresolved from your past.
Yeah,
But obviously, you've taken it on to the point of trauma
yeah,
because it's affected you so greatly, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a trauma situation, but it's something that's really, really got to you on a very deep level.
yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that because it's about then being really present, isn't it? It's about just
Mm,
being in the moment
that's
because
right.
that's the only time that we can technically control what's going on is
Absolutely.
right here and now.
And I haven't thought of this story for a long time, but I'll share it because I just love it. And there's going to be a few people out there going, no, but I'll share it because I just absolutely love it. So when I was at my sickest, I struggled to go over bridges. So I could go over bridges driving fine. Like I wasn't doing anything wrong, but the anxiety within me was quite torturous. And what I learned, somebody along the way said to me, ask the angels to let you drive over the bridge on your own. Didn't matter, peak hour, pinball, 8 o'clock in the morning, I'd go over this bridge on Lane Cove Road. It was, and it really wasn't a bridge. It was just 100 meters long, if what that. But that was enough to really, for me to really struggle. And seriously, I might get the odd car that might whiz past me, but by the time I got to the bridge, even in peak hour traffic, there was 500. Well, 3 car lengths behind me. They were away. So it wasn't like I was being tailgated. And obviously, I would go a bit slow because I was feeling, and so I'd left a little bit of space in front of me. And then, and now if I come back from, let's say, Sydney, and it's, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the morning, or I've been on holidays, I'm still driving. If I go over a bridge, I go, I don't like that bridge. Angels, take care of it, and I'll just go over on my own.
Yeah.
And not because I'm scared or I can't drive it or anything. It's just I don't really like Mooney Mooney Bridge. I don't know if many people know that, but it's not a nice bridge and most people don't like driving it. So I just go, if I'm not tired in that, I don't even think about it. But if I'm a bit tired or been away, I've been driving for 6-8 hours or something, I go, oh no, I don't really want to deal with that. Angels, just take care of it. And before you know it, all the traffic just dissipates. And so call on your angels, set intentions in your life and get supported by the universe.
I love that. I love that. I use the parking gods a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Parking gods, can I please have a car spot? And without a
friend of mine used to say, she lived in Coogee, and she would say to me, how come every time you come to my place, you park right outside? I said, because when I leave Terrigal, I ask. And yeah, every afternoon she would come home from work and she would at least have to walk a kilometre.
Yep.
And then when she started to believe, I often go there and go, oh, Kim, I see your car is within a house or two of your apartment.
Yeah, it's that belief system, isn't it? I love that.
Is.
Okay, there's a lot more that I'd love to talk about, theta healing and body talk in particular, but we're just going to take a short break and hear from the sponsors of the show, and then we'll be right back. And I'd love to explore the theta healing and also the body talk, because I know that they're 2 modalities that you work with your clients. So we'll just take a short break, hear from our sponsors, and then we'll be back.
Perfect. Thanks.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome back, Donna. So, Donna, theta healing and body talk. Can you share with us about those 2 modalities, and then how do you use those modalities when you're working with clients? Do you work together with them, or are they separate? How do they play a part in your work?
Okay, yeah, they're fairly separate because body talk is all about, it's tapping out the quarters of the brain, and what it's doing, it's helping reconnect the left-hand quarters of the brain and the right-hand quarters of the brain, and send messages, like healing messages, down the lines of your body to heal yourself. So what it's really doing is just reconnecting you to your healthy state. Because what happens if you think of remember the old telephones and you'd hear all the electricity in
Oh
there,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
unwell or I don't know, got a poor diet or haven't slept enough or whatever, the left hand quarters of the brain and the right hand quarters of the brain is a little bit like that static electricity. It's sending messages, but they're not clear messages. So if you're unwell in some way, like for example with my anxiety, it didn't heal my anxiety, but it did lighten my load.
Okay.
So I
Oh, I
just kept
love that.
sending all that information and clearing it, like. And my girlfriend, she's also a body talk technician, and a guy fell off a mezzanine floor in their factory, and he broke his leg in two places.
Right.
And so they ran in and they said to her, "Can you call the ambulance?" And she said, "No, I'll go to him. You call the ambulance." And she went out and she just tapped out his cortices and just and she probably would have tried the best she could with his leg to do the meridian for that leg, so that the energy would go down or the messages would go down the meridian lines to his broken leg. And you can imagine if it's two places it's broken and he's like off his face. He's like really struggling with this. And then she went to see him the next day, and I won't say what he said, but basically he said, "What the heck did you do to me? Because before you did what you did, I couldn't stand the pain, but once you did what you did, I could manage the pain."
Wow. Wow, that's amazing.
And my brother, he was, I think it was last Christmas, Christmas before, I think it was last Christmas. I went down, I was rang him just before Christmas, and I said I'd come down and visit, and he said, "Oh, I'm in hospital." I said, "Okay, that's all good. I'll come and visit," because my brother's quadriplegic. And anyway, by the time I got there, my niece had said to me, "Oh, the doctors just sent Dad, and they're going to put him in palliative care on Monday." And I went, "Okay, well, I'm a healer. Let's see what I can do." So I went in to see him, and basically what had happened is he'd stopped peeing. He's also on dialysis, so his body's not in the best place.
Yeah.
And I went, "Okay, well, I should be able to do some body talk with that." And I'll put water in the navel because that's where you're connected to your mother. And so that part of your body recognizes and will flush it out. And still, you're going to connect in your ass and the brain to send the messages down the meridian lines. And it's not a difficult process. So because I'm only a technician, I'm not a practitioner. This is just a 1 day course, but I use it all the time. And so I was teaching my niece, she was 16, what to do when I left. And anyway, we did it about 5 or 6 times that day. And then I headed off home about 6 o'clock. About 6:30, Steve rang and said, "Donna, I'm peeing." I said, "Well, don't worry, you're not going to palliative care if you're peeing." Because
Yeah.
he started bringing up all the toxins and vomiting up black and everything. So he was pretty unwell because he hadn't urinated for about 4 days, I think it was. So um, he was in a bad way. But then again, there's the universe. He lives a long way away. I don't get there all that often. And
Yeah.
the day that I needed to be there, I woke up unplanned and said, "I'm going to go see Steve."
Yep. Wow. Wow. Isn't that beautiful, that divine guidance?
Yes.
And you trusting the knowing that you needed to go
Yeah.
and see
And
him.
I hadn't even thought of him the day before, which is ironic. It wasn't like I had this loose plan that maybe I might go and see him on the weekend. I
Yeah.
just woke up that morning and thought, "Oh, I'm not doing anything. Good opportunity to visit
Wow.
Steve
That's
and his
amazing.
family."
Wow. And so theta healing, how did you come across theta healing?
Wow, this is a crazy one. I don't know why I went to theatre healing. Truly, I didn't. I knew I was becoming more spiritual, and I was trusting more, and I knew that energy healings had created a great benefit for me. But I didn't expect that I would do more than the beginners class. Now I've done like I don't know 15 courses, but I didn't expect that I would do it. But I wanted to go and find out more about it. So anyway, I turned up, and just before we get into that, I'd actually been going to the chiropractor about every 6 weeks because my hips were rotated by about 30%. So it wasn't painful or anything. It was just that when I'd walk like 500 meters or more, the more that my hips were rotated, the more exhaustion I'd get. So just walking from St. Leonard Station up to class, I was like pooped. So anyway, I'm in class, meet Mark and the fabulous team there, and I think her name was Holly, and Holly knew nothing. So I knew a little bit about energy healing. She knew nothing. And so the first thing we were asked to do was bring some energy down to see whether we'd hold on to a healing. Like that was just blew my mind away. And so when we did that, then I said, well, I think I should work on my hips. Like, let's do that. So anyway, we worked on my hips. Within an hour, my hips, and I've never ever been back to the chiropractor for my hips. I've
Wow.
been once in a blue moon for like my back or whatever, but it's probably 15 years or more now, and I have not been back once for my hips. And that was all about me moving forward with my book and not judging myself, because your hips are all about not moving forward.
Yep.
And first it's your feet, you're not moving forward, so you might, I don't know, sprain an ankle. Then it's your knees. And then if you're really not listening, it's your hips. There's so many hip replacements as we get older because we just go, oh, no, that's not what I'm
Yeah.
thinking or feeling, or that doesn't sound true to me.
Yeah.
And no judgment there. We all have our different journeys.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when you're working with a client, is it then you tuning in to your intuitive knowledge of, do they need some body talk, or is it theta healing, or is it kinesiology? Like, is it all of it?
Fundamentally, I always work with theta, but I've had so many modalities done with me
Yeah.
over my 7 years of my own healing journey that Creator just guides me sometimes to do something that is not in my lane, and it always works.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
might do a little bit of Gestalt. I don't pull on them all the time. I fundamentally do that, but I let myself be guided, because if Creator's going to give me that information that's going to support this person, who am I to say no?
Yeah. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I just let myself be guided. But body talk's more about just if you're unwell in some fashion, that you can promote your own innate healing. So, like with my brother and the guy that fell off the mezzanine floor, but I've actually kicked my toe, like pretty bad kick of my toe, and so like big blood blister come up. It was quite painful, and I've tapped out for that meridian. Excuse me. And I've actually watched the blood go backwards. It's undone the bruise, so to speak.
Wow. Wow. And so when you talk about your intuition and your claircognizant, so do you like, is it a feeling? Do you get an actual feeling, or is it just like, are you able to explain it?
I don't really know that I can. It's just for me, it's just a knowing. And particularly when I'm doing a healing, because I'm inclined to pick up a lot of past lives, not with everybody.
Yep.
And it's actually interesting because I had a client not so long ago that I didn't pick up any past lives, and he was about my age. And I went, that's an unusual for an older person. Like, when they're older, usually there's a past life in there for me anyway, not every single time. And he said, oh, this is the first time I've ever been here. He said he was Palladian. And I went, oh, at least you know I'm not lying.
Ah,
Because I didn't pick one up, so I wasn't making it up.
yeah.
So, but the younger people there's less inclined to be.
Yep. Yep. So, Donna, when I was reading out your bio, you mentioned in there that one of the affirmations that you started saying to yourself was, my name is Donna Sullivan and I am triumphant. So, where did that come from?
That was actually, I'm not sure what sort of, like a doctor's surgery or a dentist or something like that. The top of the book, the cover was ripped off, and I just sort of picked it up. And in the first or second page, I saw how you could, use the word triumphant, or this person had. And I went, I can do that
Mm.
because I had the knowing that I was attracting whatever. So if I was thinking, I'm sick, I can't cope, life's too difficult, like if I had all those sorts of thoughts, I knew I was going to be attracting it. So I had to do everything I could. And one of the things my mum said to me when I got unwell, she said, I can't believe that you're the person that got this because you're the happiest person that I know.
Ah.
And so my innate nature was joy. So
Yep.
when I went from joy to disaster, is the only
Yeah.
word I can think of,
Yeah.
it just was so unnatural for me. So I had to do everything I could think of
Yep.
to put myself back in that sort of energy.
Yeah. I love that. And triumphant is such a like it's so empowering. It
Yeah,
means
it's
so
all
many
encompassing, isn't
things.
it?
Yeah. Like it's joy, it's success, it's empowerment, it's
And I've
power.
always said that a million times and over, the 7 years.
Wow. Do you still say it?
I have said it probably maximum once a year.
Yeah.
But there's been times where I've, maybe some IT or something like that, and I go, oh, seriously, okay, I'm Donna Sullivan, I'm triumphant. So I can use it anywhere, yes.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's amazing. That's really special. I think that's really lovely. And this is one of the things that I love about interviewing and having these conversations with people that I know because I learn so much about, we would never have probably spoken about that ever. So,
No,
I,
because we're in class,
yeah,
we have lunch, we catch up,
yeah, it's lovely.
very
It's
good.
lovely. So, I'd love to talk to you about mental health and well-being. So, now that you're in a space of you're following your passion and purpose and living the life that you wanted to, how do you maintain your mental health and well-being and how do you make sure it's a priority?
Okay, I only focus on the positive. I'm fortunate to be a healer and be in a large community. So if I have a flat spot or I feel like I've got some stuck energy around me or something isn't moving like forward the way that I want it to, that I have the benefit of this big community. But I always set intentions if I really want something to happen, like so that I can put it out to the universe. Like tomorrow's going to be better than yesterday if I had an ordinary day.
Yeah, yeah,
Haven't quite got that yet, but I know I will by tomorrow. Like, so
yeah,
even if it's something that you're a bit stuck in, or ask the universe, like, creator, what's my next step? What's my next step for my business?
yeah,
What am I supposed to be doing now? And I
yeah,
don't do it every single day, but whenever I'm feeling like I'm not moving forward the way that I feel that I should be,
yeah,
then I go, okay, I need to get back. Obviously the grounding's really important.
yeah,
And then there's forgiveness. Like that's the most empowering
yeah.
of all.
Forgiveness of yourself is such an empowering thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Like I remember like years ago, like I always found it really, really easy to forgive. It didn't matter what the person had done. I could just pretty well go, they're having a bad day, or it's not my responsibility with the way they feel,
Yeah,
that sort of energy. But and I just instantly forgive them. But when there was the significant ones that I'd forgiven, and I did that really easily, like I didn't want to hold grudges. It wasn't my personality. But what I did find out, like decades later, is that when I realized that when you forgive yourself, because if you've had a situation with somebody that's been unpleasant, you actually chose to be part of that conversation or that space, whether it's from a past life where you've chosen that to come in and do that again.
yeah. So, what I find is really interesting as well in relation to forgiveness is that it's just such an empowering thing that you can do for yourself because it just creates freedom. Like it gives you freedom and
Absolutely.
instant freedom, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the funny thing is, like, a lot of people will think, oh, no, I've forgiven that person, I'm good. And then all of a sudden, it's not that person that's the trigger, but it's that emotion that person caused.
Yeah.
If that emotion gets triggered again, even though it's your boss or your partner now or whatever, that emotion has been triggered again. But once you've actually forgiven yourself, you release yourself from it completely. So that
Yeah.
trigger's going to now be gone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's actually a really good perspective to look at it as well, because sometimes we may have forgiven the person or the situation, but maybe not really tuned into the emotion that was connected to that. So,
Mm.
yeah, that's really good. Yeah. So, Donna, you talked about your brother Steve a little time ago. So, you said that he recently shared a story about his journey to the other side. So, what happened? What was that about?
Yeah, that's a fabulous story because, like, particularly from my line of work and my passion and my interest, you would have thought that I would have asked this question of him decades ago because he's been quadriplegic now. I think probably 28 years.
Okay.
So half of his life he's been, well, just over half of his life he's been quadriplegic, and so I think it was last Christmas actually, and I said to him, so it must be the Christmas before he had that, and then last Christmas I said to him, Steve, I never asked you, when you were in the coma for 10 months, I said, did you ever go to the other side, like go down the tunnel and that? And he said, yeah. He said, oh, but I wasn't telling anybody. He said, like best part of 30 years ago, they would have thought that I was insane. Like I'd been in a coma, I woke up, I couldn't speak, I couldn't see. All I could do is hear. Could you imagine if I told the doctors or something that I'd had a chat with somebody on the other side? He said, no, that I wasn't going there. And I said, so what happened? And he said, well, all I can tell you, it was a man's voice. So he doesn't know who it was, but it was a man. And the man said to him, you don't have to go back. You can stay if you want to. And he turned around and said, no, I have to go back. I've always wanted to be a dad. So when he came back, he was quadriplegic. He was. They didn't think that he'd be able to have children.
Yeah.
He was the most disabled person at that point, so 20 odd years ago, to be able to have his own housing commission place where a carer would come in the morning, get him up, he'd get him into his chair. By that stage, his fingers were working, and he could at least say a sandwich. He couldn't cut up a steak or anything, but he could potentially clean his teeth or get his hand to his mouth. And then they'd come back and in the evening and put him back to bed, bathe him, and put him back to bed. So he had his own little space, which is excellent because the setup for him in the system was not nice. So this was a far better alternative for him.
Yeah.
But what happened is he married his carer. He now has two children, a boy and a girl.
Gosh.
And so he did. He came back, and he came back to be a dad. And he's a fabulous dad, for what he can do for them and everything, emotionally and supportive, and that he's just an awesome dad. So that's a beautiful story.
Absolutely. And what a joy and blessing for his children as well to grow up
Mm.
with a dad that is like him as well. I have a niece who is Down syndrome, and I just think that she's the biggest gift that our family could ever have, because
Yes,
she's taught us so many things.
absolutely.
And so your brother's children and, just your brother generally would just be teaching so many things to so many people. Wow.
Absolutely. And like his son wants to be a doctor, and he's quite academic, so it's quite possible that he will, and I guess that's a little bit where my story is well, probably not that much different, but I have lots of doctors in my family. Lots
Yeah.
of doctors, lots of nurses, lots of carers. I would say in my immediate family, I've probably got around 14, and then there's
Wow.
me.
Oh,
And
I
then
love how
there's
you
me.
paused. There's me.
So
Love that.
so yeah, so I mean, I'm well loved by them all, but they're, I'm
Yeah,
he's a little bit different,
yeah, yeah. But you
but
bring
that's
the
okay.
balance. You bring
And
the
that
balance.
can be a struggle for a lot of people too,
Yeah,
because a lot of people who take the spiritual journey everything has been so science based, so Western medicine based. And Western medicine's awesome. We want these things. We want an X-ray. We want, if you're giving birth and you're having struggle with your birth, we want a doctor. We want
Yeah.
cesareans. We want all these tools.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is we also want to heal completely.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I
So.
love that because it's almost like you are meant to be in your family to then just give a different perspective as well. You
Oh,
know?
they don't hear it. That's okay. That's okay. They'll hear it if they're meant to, and if they're
Yeah.
not, and maybe they were also meant to test me a little bit because I would get
Mm.
really frustrated because I would see how many healings had taken place, what I'd witnessed, what I'd experienced, and their belief was next to that's not possible
Yeah.
because that's how they've been educated.
Yeah. How interesting.
But there's no judgment there. We just all
Yeah.
got to make sure we stay true to who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you're probably going to be surprised when I say that. Can you believe we've only got a few minutes left?
Really, that's
I told you the
been
conversation goes
fabulous.
so fast, so fast. So I'm going to ask you the same question that I love to ask all of my guests before we finish our conversation. So, what is one lesson or truth that you've learned on your journey that you wish you had known earlier?
The forgiveness, we've already discussed that, but I would suggest to anybody, if you've forgiven somebody and haven't forgiven yourself, now's a really good time to do it right this moment. So that's definite. Uh, don't let anybody make you feel less than because it's not your story, it's their story.
Oh, wow.
And if you're letting someone make you feel less than, you're actually choosing to step out of your joy. Whereas they can have their opinion,
Yep.
that's fine. Everybody's got the right, but don't let it affect you. Let it be. Let
Yep.
it be. If they're having a bad day, they're having a bad day. And then forgive them. So
Yeah.
you can move into tomorrow and just have the peace of tomorrow without having to hold on that judgment. So, if there's any young teenagers out there or uni students or anything like that, like, bullying and all that sort of thing, just forgive.
Yep.
Move on. Don't hold on to it. Don't let it be.
Yeah.
Because the energy of like the bully and the victim is actually the same energy.
Yep.
They're both sort of lacking self love. It's just that one overcompensates and the other one undercompensates.
Wow.
Actually, the same energy.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
just learn to love yourself.
I love that. It's really beautiful. Thank you. What a way to close out our conversation. Thank you so much
Pleasure.
for all of your time
Grateful.
today. It's been really lovely, and I've really, really enjoyed just learning more about you, all these different things that I didn't know about you. So, thank you so much, Donna.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I've absolutely had a great time. It's been awesome. And I'll see you again soon. See
Yeah.
you in 2026. And let me just add one thing really, really briefly. We're just closing off our 9 year astrologically. So we're coming to the end of that. So for anybody who might be feeling that the last few months has been difficult, next year is a 1 year. It's all about beginnings. It's all about new
Absolutely.
starts. So
Yeah.
just know that January this year is fabulous.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Pleasure.
And I'd also like to thank all of our amazing and dedicated audience, my supporters, all the sponsors of this show. I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of the week, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week. And thank you again, Donna.
Pleasure. Thank you.